Hey, what's going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Legacy's Journey, where we talk about creating what outlives you. I'm your host, Cameron Williams, owner of Kinley Consulting, where we focus on strategic financial growth for marketing agencies so that they can live that dream life that you know you deserve and just not be a slave to your business. And we do that through CFO services. Now, y'all know we always on the hunt for not good guests, but great guests. And sometimes you sit back and you like, man, you watch people, right? You watch people from afar. You watch what they do, how they carry themselves, the energy they bring. So, I've been spending more and more time with these people. And I was like, you know what? Husband and wife team, check. Always having a good time, check. And just from the interactions that I've seen, which haven't been that many, I'm we may have a kid interruption, but that's okay.
This real life stuff over here.
So, without further ado, Joseph and Amy Singleton are here. We're going to bring them on and give them the time and space. Tell everybody who you are. Tell us what you do, who you serve, how long you've been in business, and then we'll jump into the fun stuff while I try to go save the toddler that's about to break down the door.
All right. I love it. Well, thank you for having us. First of all, I am Amy Singleton, my husband, Joseph.
Hello.
And we own HITE Digital Norman, which is a full service digital marketing agency right here in Oklahoma City area, Norman, Oklahoma, I guess you would say. Should I pause?
Oh, yeah. No, you're just fine. We've been in this line of business since 2018? 2018, so 5 years now. It's been a blast. We both came out of some different careers behind us. I've owned home services companies and oil field consulting companies. So a lot of the backbreaking work and whatnot, ready to come home and do something with what's between these ears was kind of the hope then. And Amy came out of the medical background. So she was a nurse for a decade, doing open heart surgeries until her health couldn't let her do that any longer. So here we are now.
Yeah, when we met.
Say open heart surgery?
Yes, I spent over a decade doing CV, open heart surgery, and neurosurgery as well.
Oh,
yeah. And now marketing. Because they're the same thing.
But I was always drawn toward a career in some kind of public facing thing. So this makes a lot of sense. But when we decided to start the marketing agency together, it was because of this legacy and this family that we're building. This is both of our second marriage. We're a blended family. And we had been together for about 2 or 3 years. And Joseph was still out working in his consulting agency out in West Texas. We live in the central part of Oklahoma. So it was a good 8 hours away. I wasn't working at all because I have lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. And that's what kind of robbed me of that nursing career and that physical labor I could no longer do. And so we were just brainstorming, like, where can we serve? What can we do in our community right here that is actually going to move the community forward, move our business forward, move ourselves forward, and have the lifestyle that we want to create? And as we're brainstorming, of course, I come from corporate America. I'm like hospitals, I know all those sort of things, but I know nothing about entrepreneurship, business ownership. Luckily, he did. And he was like, you know who I've paid like a lot of money to? Marketing agencies and lead generation services and people like that promised me the world for my painting companies or my consulting agencies and never delivered. It was always a scammer. I couldn't trust them. And I'm like, well, we can do that. I can learn that. We can do that. So, dude, you should have seen like the first Weebly website I built was awful. I think I charged $300 for it. But, now fast forward 5 years and we're in a completely different space. He's back home. We're earning money and we're able to live our lives on our terms.
There you go. Okay. So there was a lot of good stuff there. So first off, let's talk about the pre-life. So you talked about you were helping people stay alive.
Yeah.
And then you're doing oil consulting, painting companies. So what would you say are some of those lessons that you may have learned in your previous fields that you feel like helps make you, I guess, has led to you becoming a better business owner now?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Absolutely. So
totally different answer. I know.
Definitely different answers between the two of us. No matter what line of business I'm in, the product that we're delivering has to be excellent. So when I ran a painting company, it was a 2% difference between pass or fail. People would see the 2% that was wrong with the job and completely discount the 98% of good work that had happened because all they could focus on was what was bad. And I learned that early on in business, that if you're not obsessive about product, you're not obsessive about what you're delivering, you're eventually going to fail. So never hitting that plateau where our product is good enough has served us very, very well. We're always improving. We're improving our marketing products, different lines, just like we have improved our home service businesses in the past, and the way that we beat out competitors. Because the real truth is, business is a zero-sum game. If somebody's coming to you, they're not going to somebody else for that same service. So we want to provide extreme value. That's probably the number one lesson I've learned. I'd imagine your answer is a little different.
I like providing extreme value. I think that's top notch.
Yeah, that's a big deal. For me, I guess it's twofold. So for the client, I've always been a very caring person. Obviously, I went into nursing, which I wanted to be a doctor, and I let fear hold me back from that. So I went to be a nurse. But caring for the person as a whole, whatever that looks like. For me, being in the operating room, most of the time, of course, I'm taking care of the patient on the table, but the family was my patient just as much, if not more, than that person who's unconscious that I'm advocating for here as their nurse. But communication with that family, talking them through it, outlining expectations and what's normal and what's not normal. And so there's that communication and caring piece is probably the biggest thing I brought along with me. And then also just my own self-directed leadership was kind of maybe a necessary change for me as well, even though I didn't leave nursing for this career. I've taken a lot of the lessons I learned from good and bad leadership in the past at corporate level and brought that into our agency.
I mean, I think that's really good, though. I guess I never thought about that correlation of I'm taking care of the patient, and the family, because it's the exact same thing when you're responsible for these people's livelihoods. So
Yeah.
I never would have made that connection.
It's kind of like, so you asked who we work with most, and because of our experience, about half of our book of business is in the trades and home service businesses. And the other half of our business is medical, a lot of medical, and then other soft services like attorneys, and CPAs, attorneys, financial services, that kind of leaning. But because of both what we both brought from our backgrounds, we're able to serve those people. And I really thought that I was being robbed of my nursing career. Like, I'm never going to care for people anymore. But knowing that I am sending patients to these clients that I love and know and like and trust and know they're doing a great job for their patients, elevating their business and attracting more clients to their business is the way that I'm now able to kind of bring that moment full circle and still care for patients, just at a little bit more of a distance than I used to.
Okay. So let's go here. All right. So you were enjoying that. Okay. We know it was health stuff. You were enjoying yours, getting everybody's house to look A1. So what is the conversation that turns into marketing agency? Let's do it. Because I mean, nursing, painting, consulting, marketing.
That's a great question. So when I was running my oil field consulting company, I was spending most of my time in West Texas. I had it was, the contract was an obscene amount of money. Doesn't matter how much it was. It was great, but it was obviously not enough because I didn't stay there. I ended up shutting that company down, and we started looking for a way that I could come home and we could run a business here together. When that
Wait. Ooh, whoa, you shut it down?
shut it
Like
down.
you just stopped it.
That's it. Yep. Just called it and headed on down the line. There was nothing.
How hard was that? Because I would imagine you built it to be something super successful, and then to say no.
Honestly, by the time we made the decision, it wasn't hard at all because we were choosing each other. See, I
burn the trucks. Like burn the ships. We burn the trucks.
Yes,
literally, there is a broken down truck still sitting on a piece of property.
Yep. Yeah, that just blew up on day last,
and so it's still sitting there.
But
bye.
But yeah, I was miserable. I was miserable. She was miserable. We were trying to have a relationship at a distance, which didn't work for us.
Like this
At all.
on
Yes.
Facebook, Time, Messenger,
Yeah, it was
phone
FaceTime
calls.
because this is, it's before COVID, so Zoom hadn't blown up yet. We were using back then Skype and Facebook Messenger, I think.
Okay.
And it wasn't making for a healthy family and a healthy relationship. Even when I would come home and take a little bit of time off, I didn't really ever take any time off because my mind and my responsibility was elsewhere. So it was kind of just playing the waiting game to get back down there, get back to work. Always worrying about what was going on. But yeah, it wasn't hard at all to shut it down by the time we made the decision. Making the decision was a several-month process of us going back and forth and a lot of, I'm really lonely and I want to come home kind of conversations. But once we made the decision, one thing that we're really fortunate in, we both view money the same way. We view money as a tool to accomplish a purpose. That's it. So we don't get emotionally attached to an income level. It's just, does that pay our bills? Does that serve our financial goals or not? Is as far as our attachment to an income stream.
See, that's a very mature thing because I think especially the way marketing is presented by maybe the questionable people. It's always
Lambo dudes,
about
just say it. Bro marketers.
Yeah, bro marketers.
Done with them. Bro.
Those people.
Like they always talk about, you got to hit this level. You got to hit 100K or you're not being successful. Like you need to do it within 90 days or you got to buy this certain car. So I think it's very refreshing to hear the other side, which is like, we're good. We can do what we need to do. We're enjoying each other. That works for us.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's no different in the marketing game either, right? It's all loose. There are no guarantees. So making a guarantee that you're going to make it to somewhere, it just seems silly. What are your results? How are you living? How do you feel from day to day, because I can promise you everything worth doing is a long-term process and it's all uphill. I think we both heard that recently from someone really, really smart. And so it's no different in our business or our life or in your marketing. It's all uphill. It all takes time. It all is a struggle. And you have to find the beauty in that chaos and in that freaking wreck of a mess of the hell that it is to run a business or run a family or have a life or have a marriage. It's all hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Yeah.
all hard.
Worth doing. It is
all hard.
It's all hard.
All. Emphasis on all.
All.
Okay, so now we bled into family time. Okay, so we've started this agency. First thing, who brought up the idea? Whose idea was it? Okay, so it's your idea. You go to Joseph and you say,
so look, there's this program I want to buy. Is actually how it started.
Yeah, it started with a course creation.
I bought a course from a bro Lamborghini marketer. That's exactly what I did.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and
I did.
you say,
And I said, well, honey, if that's what you want to do, then that's what we're going for. Because we'd already shot down ideas like a restaurant. With about 5 seconds, we looked at that and said, nope, we don't want to open one of those.
right.
MMJ is really big here in Oklahoma, the medical marijuana community. So that looked like an opportunity. Thankfully, we didn't get into that space because it's so overly saturated. We would have lost our tail on that. And the original iteration of our marketing was a little bit different model. It was a lead generation model where we built rank and rent websites. So we would identify what we call low hanging fruit. We identify holes in the internet market that we could drop a website for, say, a painting company. My second painting company, this is actually how it came to be, completely by accident. Build a website for ourselves, start generating leads, sell those leads to a local home services contractor that's really good at doing the work and not so good at marketing themselves. Pretty good kind of tit for tat business model. And it went fairly well. And we learned a lot those first couple of years.
So much.
We learned the basics of SEO. We learned what it was to run a PPC campaign. That was so much fun in those first couple of years.
And Facebook ads
And
were a nightmare.
Yes.
So we learned it too.
So we dove in.
No, you don't like Facebook ads?
I love them just fine. She hates anything having to do with ads because, well, it's a risk.
I'm the SEO girl. He's the ads guy.
That's it.
Yeah, we both have our individual areas of expertise, but no, that is literally how. So we had at the beginning of our business, we had about 25 different websites up in this metro area, all producing leads, and the biggest producer of those leads was a painting website we put up in Norman, Oklahoma. The painter here couldn't find a contractor he trusted enough to take those wonderful leads because they're just pouring in. And he's like, you know what? My brother needs work. Got a couple of friends that need work. They already know the trade. Let's go. And the next thing you knew, we were 3 crews in to another painting company. But it proved the
fell
concept.
Into another company.
It completely proved the concept. It wasn't even a real business. It was just a website with a Google business profile and a couple of social media channels attached to it. And it completely proved that SEO works. Mm-hmm. And we were able to build an entire business out of starting with a website. We started the business with a website. How many times did businesses start
last year?
And then they wait. But yeah, like you said, we just sold that business. We didn't shut it. We were able to sell it because it had excellent branding, excellent logo, excellent website, lead flow. Lead flow is what any business needs. So it definitely proved the concept. And it was at that time that we decided to move our agency model into a more traditional SEO, PPC, a more traditional digital agency, working on the client's own branding and on their own assets.
Okay. So serial entrepreneurship here, which is great. I also like how you said, because my wife just, I'm not going to say officially started, but like big time started. So I like how you said, like, he's great with ads, I'm great with SEO, like already having that boundary of, I know what you're great at, I know what I'm great at, we can make that work. So I think that was awesome. Okay, so now you transition to this other franchise model, or I guess the first time franchise model.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now who brings this idea up?
So we were
She's
connected
100%. Once I get on board, we make one heck of a powerful team. But what's going on between those years is another level beyond me most of the time. So.
It's a scary place to be, but yeah. So we were in this group of bro marketers, essentially learning how to rank and rent websites and do the ads and do all those things. And when we were like, this isn't really the best fit for what we really wanted to do. What we really wanted to do was move businesses forward, not just with leads, but with their own branding, with their, building something worth selling in the future. Where was I going with that?
About how you came to the franchise model.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So we're in that group, and a couple of the other members of that group had also kind of left and started their own traditional digital agency as well, because it just wasn't a great synergy. So once we learned those skills, then we were running our own agency. It was called New Leaf Marketing. And someone from that group, I think you know him, Adam McChesney, is one of our corporate leaders at HITE. He introduced me to an opportunity with HITE, which was the very first iteration of a franchise digital marketing agency. And I was like, okay, well, we together, just us two, we're trying to build out all those SOPs, all those processes, all those things, do all the hiring. And we were in the middle of doing all that, and partnering with HITE moved us forward probably 3 years in building that process out. So now we're just able to manage our clients. We have an amazing fulfillment team that does the work, and tons of data and training and QA that back all of that up. So it's been a really beautiful thing to transition to.
Okay, so now let's go here. So now you're part of it. Now, earlier you were talking about lack of family time, lack of boo time, date nights. So now that you switched to a more streamlined, we got the SOPs, we got the processes. What does that balance look like family-wise, and then just in being married-wise?
That's a great question, because I end up as an operations manager. I'm just nose deep in all of our clients day after day. So we do have this nice clear line for our work roles. She is the face and sales and social media and all of that public facing, and I'm nuts and bolts project management in the background, which is very much my forte. Running crews, doing anything that's
Okay, I
just kind of
like
what I'm
it. I
geared
like
for.
it.
So it carried over really well. But honestly, the first few months, they were it was a pivot because we were so used to being physically apart all the time that her having to look at my mug getting out of bed every day with my, all the habits that come along with having somebody in the household with you and whatnot. We had to learn how to be together daily. And the way we made that work and made it wonderful is communication right out of the gate. We had to have the permission to have frank and honest conversations with each other. You are
Oh, buddy.
annoying me by sitting so close, or stop chewing so loud needs to be valid sentences, because
That's
we were
true.
having to get
That's
to know
true.
each other. But it was, at first it wasn't a struggle, it was just a learning experience.
I like it. I
And
like
I
it.
wouldn't trade it for anything today. Me shutting down that company, us starting our marketing agency, has accomplished exactly what we wanted. We're inseparable, you know, um,
Yes.
in a healthy way, not in a codependent way. um,
Well, I
it's
mean, I think it's obvious. Like, even the terminology and the words that you're using are even how we use the word so honoring. So you can tell this is like, we enjoy this. And that's some of the things that I'm starting to see across the different people we brought on. Like, I enjoy where it's different. Like you said, it's one thing to, hey, how you doing? Good morning. Have a good day at work. Bye. Versus,
Mhm.
hey, how you doing? You know we gotta do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G today, right? Like two completely different ways to approach it. But I love the separational roles, playing your role to the T, knowing your strength and weakness. Because, like I said, like in me and my wife's case, like she always kind of helped. Like she'll do me a logo. Like she did all our logos. She did like some of our posts. But like now she's officially like stepping fully into the role. And I'm just like,
Nice.
this is so interesting to like have to depend on you to come through in a completely different way than just normal family or normal marriage stuff or whatever. So I'm here
Yeah.
for it. Continue with the love story.
No, it's really hard though. I mean, you have to it feels like you're sometimes turning on and off all these different switches throughout the day, right? Like I wake up and there's my CEO switch, and then when I'm done, then I turn that switch off, and then the mom switches on, and that's off, and then the wife switches on, and I'm just constantly switching all these switches. But the truth is, they're all on all the time. There's no balance to life, not for me. It's just a life.
Ooh, go into that one. That's a
It's just a
go.
life. Um, yeah, I just think that I never understood that the opportunity was there to create your own life. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand entrepreneurship or business ownership or anything like that. I understood getting up, getting the kids out the door, going to work, coming home, making the meal, paying the bills, going to bed, and doing it all over again. And so now my day might look like at 10 p.m. I'm in here putting together a proposal at 8:30 a.m. I'm having coffee with him. It doesn't have to be a certain thing. And I think we started before COVID, but I think that's something that COVID has really opened up the eyes to a lot of people. It's created some problems with workforce and other issues that everyone is dealing with right now. But I think the greater good of our society is going to be moved forward because of our open eyes to knowing that we get to choose the way we live. We get to choose that.
Yeah.
And it's up to us. We got one life to do it. And whatever that looks like for you, it's just a whole life. Don't try to separate out all the different buckets of the area of your life. Just live your life and live it wholly and do it on your terms. And it's a completely different experience.
Okay, I want to keep staying right here because this is good. Because when you see Joseph can probably identify, when you get married, there's certain things stereotypically about, all right, women holding it down, being strong and balancing all these different roles. But then when you start, them years start accumulating, you're like, dang, I never, like you were talking about, there's no real flipping of the switches. They're all on all the time. So
Mhm.
I'm curious, what is the difference between husband and those switches being on and off versus wife and all those different switches. Like, are you finding that you have to communicate? I don't know if it's maybe feelings or expectations more. How does that work with you guys?
Expectations are a big one that we have to be clear to communicate, because we find that when we have struggle between us, when we argue, or we have some strife, which we're human, we do, it's almost always because we have an assumed expectation in the other person's head. Okay, so I am putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable, on on something that she says. I've put all this meaning on that, whatever that statement is. Like, have you sent such and such report to so and so yet? Well, that's just a straightforward question. But in my head, what I hear is, you're not doing your job, or something, whatever the argument is at the time. So clear and frank communication is the number one thing that diffuses any of that between us. We always want to default and say that we have no expectations, that whatever laissez-faire, whatever will be. But the truth is, we've got expectations of one another. I expect her to show up and care about me, and vice versa. And if those things aren't happening, well, I'm a big baby. I'll pout.
I think there's not enough.
Like every guy and every husband to be fair.
Yeah, if we're honest, yeah, we'll pout. Poor me.
So, yeah, like, dang, why are you talking to me so mean today? Like, I'm trying to work hard. We're sorry. We're having a man moment.
No, I love it, because I think there need to be more man moments. I mean, I'm a mother of 2 boys, and it's really important to me that men and women both understand it's not all on the mom. I'm not the only one with 10 light switches. He's got them too.
Yeah.
He's a father. There's a lot on this man's shoulders, including me. So, like, I'm managing all these switches, and he has all those switches plus me, which is like double the switches. So, like, he is so humble, so empowering to me. He will just stop and go, you know what? I'm being a complete asshole right now, and this is what I really meant, and I'm sorry. And I'm able to do the same thing. And it really, it gives me so much permission to be myself, and to make mistakes, and for him as well.
My switches are always linear. As a guy, I'm very task oriented throughout my day. I wake up at this time, I work out at this time, I'm at my desk by this time, I'm doing these tasks. The day's ended, it's time for dinner, it's family time, it's cuddle time, and it's sleep time. And if my day operates that way, I feel like my switches just went perfect. If her day operates that way over and over, that's a nightmare. So,
really?
Yeah.
I'm like,
she likes variety. She likes
whatever. I don't know.
And you like completeness of tasks. So
yes.
Before the switch, the dinner switch is turned on, the work switch has to be turned off, and there has to be a little gap or switch in between, that says
I need transition. But also, I don't want to get off this podcast without saying this thing, because I think when a lot of husbands and wives work together, or families, or just people or friends that are close, I would challenge everybody, if you're feeling a struggle in your business, or running it with a family member, especially your spouse, take a look at the seat you're in and see if it's the right one. Because when we started this business, I assumed, because I had 0 experience in business, none in sales, I'm a nurse, right? My patients come to me. They need me. I did not have to advertise for that. But he did. Like, he was always hustling for that next job. Like, every time they finish a paint job, he gets fired, right? He's got to get a new job. So I just assumed Joseph would be my sales guy. He's the front facing. He's the confident one. I can't be a salesperson. I don't know sales. What is sales? I don't want to talk to people. That's scary. I'm detail oriented. I'm going to do all these things. So I was trying to manage operations and fulfillment and all those things, while I was trying to put the pressure of selling on him. When we finally realized that I am the face of this company, I am amazing at talking to people. People actually like me, and I'm not sure why, but they do. I'm great at public speaking. I'm good at teaching people and leading. And he is amazing at project management. It did not occur to me that project management in the trades or in other fields would translate to a digital agency. But holy crap, once we got up and literally switched seats, it's been nothing but uphill ever since.
Mm-hmm. It took some humility to make that decision, because we both had to swallow our pride. Up until then, I thought I was the sales guru. I just was so good. I wasn't. Really.
So you're going on record to say Amy's a better salesperson?
I'm going on record to say that even though my ears are bigger and I should be a better salesman because this is what you use to sell with, she's a much better salesperson than I am because she listens. I make assumptions pretty quick when somebody's sharing their problems or what they're struggling with. I think I got the answer like that. It's not really the case.
Okay, so I'm finding these seats. I think this is so crucial. Okay, so we thought we were this, we flipped, now we're filling in the groove. But to your point about the humility, like, what does that feel like? Because I'm sure there's some like, oh man, I have to follow your lead more, or I have to be the good chief, I got to be the good Indian. Like, what does that look like in reality? Because it sounds great.
It's been a struggle. I'll let him answer first and then I'll tell mine.
Well,
it's hard.
It's always hard because business, I mean, we make a lot of decisions together, but ultimately somebody has to be the CEO. They got to be the point person. And that's her. She's the final decision on any decisions that we have in this business. And it took me a little while, just like it took some time to get used to working side by side with one another. It took me a little while to swallow my pride and realize that my decisions are not always the best ones. And she has pretty good ideas, and to in business to put myself kind of, I don't know what the word that I'm looking for here is, but just right beneath her as far as responsibility goes. I wouldn't trade it today. We have a better, stronger business because Amy's methodology, her ethics, and everything are always right here, and I'm always it's not that I'm unethical. It's that if there's an easier way, I might be tempted to take it. And she's like, no, that's not the right way. You don't do that. So setting that standard of excellence from the very top is really important. And today I wouldn't trade it, but the first few months, yeah, we had a lot of nips.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, as a woman, as a wife, and people see me and view me, my outward persona, as a very strong and leaderful type role. But in our marriage, I'm really more subservient. I like to be what's the word? Not subservient, but I like my role as a wife and as a mother to him as a leader.
You don't mind somebody else leading.
Yeah, I love for him to lead in our home and in our marriage and in those things. So it was, number one, it was hard to take that leadership, to trust myself that I could make those decisions, that I was capable of great ideas, and that even if my idea was something different than someone else's, like, that was still okay because I noticed things very quickly.
Yeah.
And then the other part was like, I've talked to other women that are the CEO of their business. I'm good friends with a realtor, and her husband is a realtor in partnership with her, but she is the head, and she and I both have the same type of ethics and beliefs in our marriage. So we've talked a lot about how hard it is to lead the leader of our family in our business, right? It's a totally different conversation. And so trusting yourself as a woman, if you're the female leader of a business, you just have to trust and be open and honest and communicate. I know we keep coming back to that word, but it's been the most important thing.
Yeah, this is good. I think my wife's gonna love this episode, by the way, because
Nice.
I feel like she would agree with you, because that's kind of where we are now. So, and I don't think I said this earlier. So in her case, so remember, I'm the numbers, analytical. I'd even go as far as to say the visionary type. She's the super creative. Every marketing word y'all will say, she's like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So we decided together, like, she's going to take over our ads. We'll start our ads, funnels, email marketing, etc. And so I've learned that in trying to empower her, it's some of those same exact things. She's like, wait, so you're not gonna help me do blah blah blah. And I'm like, you got it. And she's like, I mean, yeah, I can figure it out, but you're gonna be the. I'm like, mm-mm. And then there was a whole conversation of, well, let's just do these things that were, because we had this course that I did about a year ago. She's like, well, let's just push your stuff. And I'm like, that may not be what you need to do. You know, I'm like, why can't you have your own thing? And so we started working through that. And to your point, it's like, I just thought it would be easier to just latch on to what you're doing. I'm like, but you may be going in a whole different direction, and that's okay.
Yeah, it
And
takes
to
that
see,
creative mind adjacent to your analytical mind to make something happen. And and she was at TCS, so like I hope she heard John say this. John Maxwell was a speaker at an
she
event that we
loved
were all
me.
at recently. Did she?
She did. She
Yes,
did.
he said it, which I have always thought this was a detriment in my life. I notice stuff. Like first, if he drops something on his shirt, I will know way before he does. I notice
Right.
stupid things, weird things, things that seem off, things that are different. And John said that is the number one characteristic of a leader is noticing and noticing first. And I was like, holy crap. I mean, it blew my mind. And so she sounds like that kind of creative person that has all these different ideas, but it's so hard to trust yourself in moving forward because you're the first to notice. No one else is doing it. And you're like, wait, is this the right thing? Because we all look for clues of success of other people. And what are they doing? And can I copy that? And how can I make it better? But when you have this new brilliant idea or you notice something is wrong or it could be better, it's so hard to speak up in that. And so I love that she's working with you, that hopefully she can trust herself in moving forward with those things.
Yes, because I'm like, I like Joseph was. It's almost like the same thing, except I'm just over here on the East Coast on the South Side. It was the same thing. It's like you have all these great ideas, but I'm like, you do it, and just seeing it's just like you said, perfect. Seeing that kind of battle of like, should I really go all in? Can I be the face? Because she's like, Cameron, you're the more personable one, and more people know you. I'm like, well, I mean, I had to work at it in some facet. You can do the same thing.
Not for long.
And just to see kind of her brain, just like, I just think that is so interesting. And see, Joseph, this is so good because Joseph, you were so supportive at the humility. See, I'm learning all this. This is like my own personal marriage, working together business summit. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love it.
Not to say that there aren't other marriage dynamics that would work. The dynamic that we have, I feel like, is the only dynamic that works for us to work together. We have to be partners. We have to be arm in arm and not oppositional. And to get there, we've got to work at it. I mean, it's not easy. We struggle through every facet of our relationship to define responsibilities, but in the midst of all that, even more than communication with each other, grace is our number one thing.
Ooh, go into it. Go into it.
We've failed a lot in our lives, and we've failed each other along the way. We're not robots, but we're committed to one another. I think this is, let's just say, yes, is the commitment summit right there. That's nice. A word that we don't take lightly. We're committed in marriage to one another, and which means that we have extreme grace. She could do something that caused me permanent damage for the rest of my life today, and we'd work through it. It wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be easy. But I'm confident that we would be together and we would be arm in arm on the other side of it. That without that kind of forgiveness and grace, you might as well hang it up. You've got to have a partner if you're going to be partners in business together, because you're already partners in life. There's no getting away from one another at that point.
I feel it. Okay.
I think one of the things that brings it all around, like, I mean, I see the babies on your lap and oh my God, they're so cute. The thing about us is that our mindset coach said it one time, when you've suffered enough, you finally get it. And I really think that's where Joseph and I are in our lives. Like, I just turned 42 on Saturday. He will be 46 at the end of this month.
Belated birthday.
Thank you. We have kids ranging from 28 to 15 and 3 grandchildren. And we've been through absolute hell in our lives, not just in our business, but in our lives. We have lived through that crap. And it makes you more generous with grace and with forgiveness and with communication. Like, you don't want to waste any more time, because we're just people. Our clients are people. You're a person. He's a person. We're people. The kids are people. We're just people, and we're all imperfect. And if you can't have like obscene amounts of grace for others, then what are you even doing? But I don't think you come to that place until you've really been through it. You've just suffered so much. You just know what's worth it and what's not.
Including the suffering that you created yourself.
That most of mine was completely self-created.
Yeah, we're not victims here.
No.
Yeah, if we are, we're victims of ourselves.
Of myself.
That's really the truth.
I like it. Okay. All right. So you just brought up the kids. So like having the teenage and the adult kids, what are some things that you guys do to connect with them? Because you're running this. I just want to say they're really humble, but to be clear, they're running a successful business. So how do you balance that and then dealing with the teenager, or hey, we got to cut off because we got to go have family time or take them to whatever event? What does that look like? Or is there a certain activity, like we do pizza every Friday or we do pancakes on Saturdays? So that's our thing. So do you have something like that you found works really well for you guys and your family rhythm?
The biggest,
get them when you can.
That with teenagers, the hard thing is they're just as busy as we are. So we're intentional about it. Like Monday night, our youngest boy, he's 15. He's on the football team here at the high school. He's got a football game this time of year every Monday night. Do we really want to go sit at a JV football game? Probably not. I mean, it's not at the top of my list of entertainment, but seeing that boy, the culmination of all the effort he put in that week, come out on that football field for a couple of hours is a great way to support him. And it's a great way to connect with him. So we do that. They're really supportive of us and our work. So when they come in from school or from work, they check out for a little while. They get away from mom and dad so that we can finish our work and spend some time with them. But we're intentional about.
What about dating?
What's that?
I said, what about dating? Because I know the other day Amy posted this weird. I don't know what that was. I can't even remember.
That was an amazing dinner.
I heard daddy. You said dinner.
Oh, the dinner. The amazing dinner. You're amazing, daddy.
Okay.
Or the baby daddy.
Yeah, the baby
daddy. What are we
daddy.
talking about? I don't know.
So our two boys are my stepsons. So we can talk about that, the blended family part in a minute. Dinner was nuts. So Gray Sweater is owned by Chef Andrew Black, who just won the James Beard Award. It's the only one to win it here in Oklahoma City. And we got a chance to go to his little speakeasy restaurant, it's a tasting restaurant, for dinner for her birthday. And it was surprising. If you're going to a top-notch restaurant, if you're going to spend that kind of money, you want them to take you on a journey. That's exactly what they did here. We had seafood from Australia. We had quail from France. We had
it's crazy
things that looked like ice cream cones that were really savory. It was so different and awesome.
Our dates normally look like Saturday mornings at the farmers market, bike rides down on the Oklahoma River when the weather's nice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an all day on Sunday, lay in bed and watch, an entire season of something on Netflix. I feel like that's the season of our life we're in. We get it while we can, because all of our kids are busy, especially the grown ones and the grandkids. We were able to snag them up a couple weeks ago and take them to like the watermelon festival. So we just get it in while we can. And then we definitely do make intentional touch points with those kids, like throughout the month and the week and stuff like that. But we also respect and know that they're busy, and that we all just make time for each other as we can. Yeah. Oh, you're on mute. You on mute. Okay.
You trying to keep them baby noises.
I know it.
All right. So you talked about blended family. Where you want to go with that one? Because that's That could be a good one. Or we
Oh.
could jump into lessons.
Into what?
Into lessons.
Life lessons like what would you I like the blended family one though. Because
You
I feel
do?
like that's a good one.
Well, when I first came on board in 2016, I was staring on the barrel of 3 daughters that were at the time, what, 20, 17, and 14 or 15? That was hard. You're not my mother.
Yeah.
And he came into the boys' lives.
They were little. They were
little.
Yeah, Anders and Brady were both. Brady was 13. So I had 8-year-old little boy and 13-year-old little boy, and I didn't know that raising boys was different than girls. I mean, I kind of knew it up
Man.
here. I've been told it was different, but I didn't really believe it. It's very, very different. I've got to learn to be a parent all over again with guys, and they know how to push your buttons differently, is what it is. With my daughters, with my ex-wife, I'd come home from work and I'd know someone was always going to be crying. Didn't know who it was. Might have been my ex-wife, might have been one of my daughters, might have been all of them, but it was an emotional place. That's my point, is having a house full. I was very much outnumbered. Even the dogs were women. But the boys are just as intense. It's just a different intensity. They're a million miles an hour angry, and then the bluster blows away and they're done. And they just move on to the next thing. I wasn't used to that. But one thing that we're super fortunate about is we have a great relationship with the boy's biological father, Amy's ex-husband.
Yeah.
Since there are 2, we have 1 minor left, and then the older boy, he's staying with us. He's in the middle of building his life, so he's here for another 6 months or a year or something like that. But yeah, we have a great relationship with Brandon, her ex-husband. So the boys go back and forth every week. 1 week with us, 1 week with him. We live about 1.5 miles apart. So they get to go to the same school. They get to have the same group of friends. They just have 2 bedrooms. They have 2 houses. And we get to enjoy them. And then we co-parent with him like crazy. I am the most fortunate stepfather on the planet, that my stepsons have an excellent father on the other side of the equation, because so many don't. Or so many are at each other after a divorce. My ex-wife and I, we have no animosity now, but we did when we divorced. It wasn't pretty. Wasn't as ugly as they could be, but it wasn't nice. We were angry. And I don't want that for anybody. It's a tough enough time already, and kids are dealing with struggle. So they have always had this really rare, wonderful co-parenting situation after post-divorce. So
Yeah.
what do you want to share about that?
Just the fact that it's really nice to have. I recognize how rare our situation is, and the fact that he could actually pick up the phone, or I mean, him and my ex-husband text each other like all the time. they will send each other memes, or they'll call each other, and they're kind of the they battle up to be the bad guy for the boys, and I'm the nice mom. Like, I want to get my 15-year-old is so bougie. He is the literal version of me, like a male, larger version of his mama, like copy paste. So he's got like all the things he wants, all the stuff and all the like fancy things and stuff. And I tend to overgive because I have a lot of guilt about, my past and the way I used to be a mom or what I didn't grow up with. And so he and my ex-husband are really quick to be like, shut that down. He don't need that. Quit giving to that boy. So it's really a good balance in that respect. At least
a third pair of Jordan 4s. So
yeah. Well, he might.
That's good parenting right there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I like it. Again, first off, can we just continue to highlight the honoring words here, the sincerity? All right, let's start bringing this to a close. So, one of the questions we like to ask, if you could go tell college or high school, Joseph or Amy, anything, because you've lived however long, you've got all this wisdom now. If you could go back to that 18-year-old version of you or that 22, 23 version of you, what do you go back and tell them?
Go ahead.
The runway, for me, the runway out in front of you is endless. That you can't even, I would tell myself that you can't even imagine how much time you have in front of you. So take some risk. Take it now. Take it at 18. I was well into my 20s with my first business, and I thought I knew everything. I didn't know hardly anything, but I was already a decade behind in just taking risk and living, because here I am. I'm about to be 46. I've already lived on this planet more than twice that amount of time as 18-year-old Joseph had. And everything seemed so big and so important right then. But I couldn't tell you about more than a handful of situations about my life when I was 18 at all. It's so long ago. So yeah, the time horizon is a lot longer than I would give myself credit, or that they say that young people, they feel like they're gonna live forever. That's a yes and no, because it's also like right. Everything's important right in the moment, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
That was good.
For me, the first thing I would say to 18-year-old Amy is, you aren't as fat as you think you are.
I don't know if I should laugh at this or
no, I'm on the verge of tears saying that one. That's a big one.
Like, Joseph's laughing, so is it?
No, I'm laughing because I know the heart behind that. So
okay. I'm not gonna laugh.
No, you can laugh. It's fine. I was almost 300 pounds at one point. I grew up as a very I grew up as a.
I was almost 4, but that's a whole different story.
We're complete. We've suffered enough. Let me tell you, we've been through it.
Wow.
Lean in to who you are. Who you are and who you always felt like you've been is who you were meant to be. It doesn't matter if you were born in the wrong house or with the wrong family that doesn't understand you or the way that you are and your dreams, but keep chasing them, because they are possible, and you will end up on a stage. You might be 40 before you get there, but you were meant to impact people, Amy. You were meant to run your mouth and run your voice and help other people and give them permission to be themselves, whether they're fat, skinny, thin, tall, whatever they look like, and however they show up, they are worthy, they are able. And that's what I would say to me back then.
Well,
that's good. I feel like you should put that in a book, run ads to it, and now become a top-selling journalist book.
Right. You're not the first person to tell me to write a book. It's on the list.
I feel like there's just so much, like, there's some marriage stuff here. We're gonna pray about it. But anyway. All right, so this is your time. First off, I'm appreciative of this. So this is your time. Tell people if they want to work with you. They're like, man, these are 2 dope people. I'm in either the Texas area, Oklahoma area, and I'm ready to work with somebody like this. I need them. Tell them again how to get in touch with you, who you help, who you serve, whatever you want to tell them. This is your whole segment.
Okay. Well, I will say that, first of all, we can work anywhere nationwide. About half our book of business is in Oklahoma, and the rest is coast to coast. We specialize in helping businesses build websites that are lead generating machines. We use a variety of tools to get that, but we help to scale businesses. And so if that is something that is interesting to you, if you want to have a business that is sellable, that can scale from that 2 crews to 5 or whatever your goals are, we work with funky people. We work with real humans. We are not stuffed shirt marketers. We don't white label fulfill anything outside of our agency. We want to become a trusted partner for people. And the way that they can find us, the quickest way is amysingleton.net. Everything is there. All the links to our creative, all of our fulfillment, my podcast, my speaking, bio sheet, everything that they might need is there at amysingleton.net. My podcast is called Queen's Lead. We're about to kick off season 2. We've been doing it for a little over a year. I think we released episode 70 today. And it is for female entrepreneurs and women wanting to get into business. A lot of our guests and listeners are women exiting corporate 9 to 5, trying to start their own thing, or those who have done that successfully. So it's all about lifting up queens and becoming better leaders of people.
All right, where can they find it? Come on, you got to plug it. Okay, so everything's
there.
Yeah, we make it simple.
They can go Google HITE Digital if they want to. We are HITE Digital Norman. That is the name of our company. But yeah, we're ready to grow businesses, home services, medical professionals, spas. That's kind of our bag.
Joseph, you guys,
Oh no, she usually does a pretty good job of talking about exactly how we work. But you can also find me at josephsingleton.me. You'll find my Calendly link there. If you just want to chat with a weird guy, go ahead and hook up a half hour there. It doesn't cost you anything. We can take a look at your digital assets and see if we can help. Ultimately, we want partners in business. We're not out for quick profit. We're out to help people really grow. So our best partners are the partners that want to grow their business, either to sell down the line or to hand over to family. They want to leave a legacy, because we're not a flash
name
fire.
Of that podcast right there, ain't it?
That's what's up.
We're building legacies, our
Building
own and
legacies.
yours.
there you go. All right. Well, y'all heard it here. They told you. Say it one more time. They need to go to what website?
amysingleton.net.
That's the one. Go there.
All right. So y'all heard it here. It don't matter if you're in Oklahoma, Atlanta, New York, California, North Dakota, even though I don't know if people live there or not.
There's 3 or 4 people up there, I think.
I've been accused of being East Coast several times. So many people have asked me if I'm like from Jersey or from New York. And I'm like, I guess I need to get my Southerner accent on a little better.
It depends on where they're asking you that question at. If they're asking it here, they mean something totally different.
Oh, I'm not for everybody. I'm not for everyone. Let's just make that really, really, really clear.
I think he's for plenty of people. All right, y'all. So we know they got to get back to saving the world. Thank you guys so much for coming to Legacy's Journey. Y'all see what we're trying to do here. We want to bring on people that can not only bring you guys value, but that can share some of their stories and just be transparent with how they got to where they are, how they're working together, how they're honoring each other, their spouse, their family, and still being successful. You do not have to leave your family behind to build something great to give them. Your presence matters. So again, Singletons, thank you so much. Until the next episode of Legacy's Journey, you guys take care of yourself. Make sure you share this. Give it to people. Tag people that will want to hear this, that this can help. That's just good, solid information. Maybe their spouse is joining their company. Maybe they're starting their company together. This will be a tremendous, fabulous thing to listen to and share. And I'm not saying that because I'm running it. I'm saying that because of the value of the people that you just heard. So that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much. Until the next episode, everybody take care of yourselves.
Thanks so much for having us. Bye, all.